Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bonus Commentary, the movie something podcast. My name is Derek, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. You may notice that it's just me talking. I know, it's my own private hell. I've had to restart this episode like 6 times now because I was unhappy with how it was going. I'm actually recording in my room for the first time, so if you hear a slight buzzing noise during all of this, that's probably going to end up being my monstrous gaming PC. And once more, before we get started, I do want to give a special shout out to Kai Turner from the Necrotronic movie. He was the co-writer and director and was kind enough to shout us out on all sorts of social media and get us all sorts of fun listeners from all over the place, most notably Australia. It was crazy to watch my analytics go all over the country, go all over the world. So for those of you who listened, and especially to you, Mr. Turner, thank you so much for giving us that little boost. After that episode, you may have noticed that things kind of got really quiet around here, and for my part in that, I am sorry. What had happened was I had planned on doing an episode or an entire series on the Evil Dead franchise. Just do one episode a week. But unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, people having lives, how dare they, I was unable to actually do this. So I started to scramble, and it felt like an additional month of me just trying to find someone to help me out. But due to the holidays being what they are, it was really hard for me to get my hands on anyone for longer than a couple of maybe minutes. It was just long enough for them to say, oh no, I'm actually doing something that day, or no, Saturdays aren't any good. We usually record on the weekends just to make it easier on everybody's schedule, but holidays being what they are, that was nigh impossible. And as if as if my complaining wasn't loud enough, recently my car broke down, making it impossible for me to get to interviews with anybody outside of Lancaster, California, which if you have Google, you might just find it's kind of a hard place to get stuck in if you're if you're trying to do a commentary podcast. So what does this mean for me? Until my car situation is dealt with, until I can find a reasonable mode of transportation to and from, it's probably just gonna have to. I have to change things. I can't just keep doing this. So what I plan on doing, and I think I'm making the right call here, is I'm having permanent co-hosts. The whole idea of the show was to give everybody a voice, and I think we've been able to do that for the most part. That said, it's going to be really hard for me to do when I'm pretty much stuck. So I have talked to, and the very real enthusiasm of one Mr. Niall Strasnikas from the Necrotronic episode, and one Mr. Chad Wood from the dear God, what was the Time Bandits episode. So I'm very happy to have them back, and not only back, but seemingly we are going to have them on for a very long time. I'd also like to make it clear that I do plan on still having guests. It's just a matter of, having the means for them to get down to me. I make everything I do for my guests. I can't pay, so I just try and feed them in hopes that they don't beat me with a stick. Which in this day and age, it is certainly it is a well-founded something that could totally, absolutely happen. Right. So I'm hoping that with the inclusion of co-hosts, I keep losing the idea of that word. I keep wanting to say guests because I'm so used to saying guests. With the idea of having co-hosts, I'm hoping that it will bring me back to my monthly scheduling, monthly scheduled programming. Holidays will hopefully not be an issue. Maybe I can better plan out these specials and have my guests lined up in advance, stuff like that. I'm hoping that with the guys involved, I will be able to be a little bit more consistent without any real issues. There's also another big announcement. I plan on bringing up some new content for the show, not necessarily movie related. For bonus commentary, I hesitate to say too much. It's a show I've actually been thinking about doing for years now. And with a little bit of help from, again, my new co host, Chad, we're looking into doing something I don't think has been done yet. I mean, a lot of the major pieces are there. I just don't think anybody's done what we're about to try and attempt to do. So keep your eyes peeled for. I don't even know how to describe without giving too much away. But we will be doing something with with a podcast audio concept. God, I'm probably gonna need to cut this out. Uh, let's see. What else can I bring up? Oh, right. So as a movie podcast, it would behoove me to actually talk about what I was doing in those 4 months. And you might be surprised to find I was watching movies. First up, in October, we had Jojo Rabbit and Joker. Jojo Rabbit, I I don't know what to say about this movie. It blows me away every time I think about it, because you don't think, oh, Taika Waititi, that doofy guy from New Zealand who makes funny vampire movies and takes new takes on Marvel characters, is suddenly making a heavy satire on Nazi Germany and actually making it poignant. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. Do I need to say anything more than shoes? It was fantastic. It was not the comedy you were expecting, but it is certainly funny. If I need to sell you on it anymore, they somehow managed to make the most dynamic Nazis, if that's a good way of putting it, which probably it's a really touchy subject, but Sam Rockwell is Captain K. I hope I hope that redeems me in some regard. Oh my god, what a master. Sam Rockwell. And then of course we had Joker. Joker was an interesting idea, a dark, just it's the requiem for a dream of comic book movies. It just never stops being dark. People are giving it shit for getting so many Oscar nominations at the moment, but I think in some regards it's well deserved, and others maybe not so much. There are certainly more than just Joker out there, guys. Come on, Phoenix, do I just so good. He was terrifying. He was sympathetic, but you always had that, like, oh yeah, that's right, this guy goes on to be a mass murderer at some point, so you don't feel too sympathetic. And then he just blatantly murders that dude. Anyway, I would highly recommend at least seeing both of these once. I don't know who's gonna tell you to not see these movies, but don't listen to them. Give it a try. Always give a movie a try. You might just be surprised. Necrotronic being a huge example of this idea. It may not look good on the box art. Well, actually, that's not true. Necrotronic has an amazing box art. But the idea is, don't judge a movie by its cover, judge it by its contents. It's an age-old adage. Knives Out. Oh man, you want to talk about a movie I was not expecting to like as much as I did. After Rian Johnson's debacle with Last Jedi, I was so not prepared to enjoy this movie as much. And you know what? It was only a couple of weeks ago that I realized he did one of my favorite movies when I was in my late teens, early 20s, was Brick. Is a like film noir whodunit, which this is a whodunit with a much bigger, broader cast. And oh man, it was so good. I'm glad Rian Johnson isn't doing Star Wars movies. That means he can do more Knives Out. You found your calling, dude. Just stay in the whodunits, please. I also watched 21 Bridges. I really wish I hadn't. It was so bad. It was so just unlikable. It was so boring. I honestly can't tell you anything about it because there's not much to tell. If you see the trailer, you see the entire movie. Chadwick Boseman is trying his very best, like, to make something of himself other than Black Panther here, and he does a well enough job, I think. But the rest of the movie, not so much. Everybody else kind of feels like they're there for the paycheck, and that's very clear. Also, of course, Rise of Skywalker. Wow, I feel like this has been a very. I feel like I can do an entire episode on this new trilogy, but my own personal thought on Rise of Skywalker alone, it's certainly not the worst. There's a lot of like pandering. There's a lot of fan pandering. There's a clear attempt to get everybody back in their seats. The way it's done is rushed. At the same time, like I left the theater. I had fun. Then that's kind of what matters. Kind of. It is what matters. To me, a movie is only successful if it is truly entertaining, if you can take something away from it that you can kind of carry with you for the rest of your life. Just talk about with your friends. And, Star Wars, especially this recent trilogy, has certainly given everybody something to talk about. I think that this isn't the best one, but I would say it's definitely middle ground. Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm going to say on that for now. Netflix brought us an unexpected gem in The Witcher. Holy shit. Once again, I just wasn't ready to like it as much as I did. If Henry Cavill ever hears this, consider this my formal apology for doubting you for a second that you could not play Geralt, because he played the shit out of Geralt. It was like watching the game in real life. The only thing that was missing was text prompts of, "Hey, what do you want to say?" The cast itself was excellent. There was some I guess there's some complaints about the Nilfgaardian armor. I didn't think it that big of a deal. I was too busy having fun, and that's what that show definitely brought. It was very interesting because you could tell that this is a very post Game of Thrones world where people weren't sure what it was they were looking at. They didn't quite understand the monsters, and I had the benefit of starting off with the at least the Wild Hunt. I've been listening to the audiobooks on the train. They've truly kind of like broaden the strokes on everything that's been going on in the series. Yeah, I think if you haven't yet, toss a coin and give it a go. It is 100% worth it. It's just a lot of fun, especially if you like Game of Thrones and need some new high fantasy thing to watch. It's well worth the price of admission. Everyone is fantastic in it. Everyone brings their A game. Just give it a go. And then of course there were the movies I wish I had seen, because they were just so easily forgotten that it seems like nothing positive came from them. And they feel like they would be really good topics for bonus commentary. Let's run down this list, shall we? Charlie's Angels 2019. Wow. Elizabeth Banks, she's a great actress. And I'm sure she's a really good director. She handled that whole situation very poorly. And it makes me kind of, I don't want to like give it money, and I don't want to steal it either. So maybe when it comes out on a streaming service, I'll watch it then. But damn, it's not anything I don't want to get too far into it, but it had a lot of setup for failure. Let's see what else we got here. The Grudge 2019. Do I need to say anything more than The Grudge 2019? Cats. Cats has such a magnificent disdain for itself, or just everybody seems to hate it except for maybe like I've heard of like a handful of instances of people actually enjoying it, and far be it from me to tell you should or shouldn't like something. That's not for me to say. I want to see it. It seems like such a fever dream, and it feels like it would have a lot to talk about. Doolittle also came out on our hiatus, and kind of scratched my head as to whether or not this would be a good topic for the show. Everybody keeps claiming it's somehow worse than Cats, which with Robert Downey Jr., I have a hard time believing that, but I'm also very intrigued. Gemini Man was the yeah, you forgot about that one, didn't you? Was the Will Smith versus Will Smith movie. Again, do I need to say anything else? And Terminator Dark Fate kind of came and went like a fart in the wind, and everything I've heard about it so far has been highly negative. And I feel like at the I'm one of those guys who grew up with the Terminator movies, So I don't want to judge it too harshly without actually seeing it. I think this is going to be one of those ones where I need to probably bring it up on the show. To wrap things up, I thought it would be fun to do like a kind of Q&A because I wasn't sure how long this was going to run. I don't expect it to run any more than half hour. I posted up on my social medias for bonus commentary where I asked if there would be anything topic worthy, any fun things I could discuss on the show. So from Facebook, I got one from Sean Kremel. The question reads, oh, Sean, by the way, if you don't remember, he was one of the double guests for, we did Pacific Rim and we did Deep Rising together. And he writes, is Showgirls a better movie than The Last Jedi? I'm just kidding, of course. It is. I wouldn't want to torture you with having to sit down through a cinematic abomination, The Last Jedi. I mean, yeah, Last Jedi. That's a weird topic. There's a lot wrong with it. I don't think it's the cinematic dumpster fire everybody claims that it is, but there are certainly a lot of things wrong with it. Showgirls, I haven't seen since it was on VHS, so I can't even. I honestly can't bring anything to mind about it. But Last Jedi is still kind of that fresh wound. I feel like Rian Johnson owes a lot of people an apology. And then I also feel like the producers owe a lot of people an apology. Again, I feel like I can do an entire episode on just the new Star Wars franchise. I'm going to go ahead and say maybe. They might be right on par with one another. Okay, and we'll move on to, again, another Facebook question. Brian Rook, my cousin, has asked, is Kevin Smith an innovative film director or is he just resting on his coattails? Like, I love his world, but it does seem very self-congratulatory as he goes on. And I think that's a very fair point. Admittedly, I haven't seen, what was it, Hockey Hooligans? The one with his daughters, just his daughter. Or Tusk. Didn't he do Tusk? The last one I saw was Red State, and that was very out of Kevin Smith's safe zone. So I can't say for certain. I am looking forward to his new, his final introduction. I'm looking forward to Clerks 4, Clerks 3. I forget where we're at. And the Jay and Silent Bob remake, I guess, just came out, which was basically just Jay and Silent Bob rebooted, but I think that was the joke. On Instagram, I got the question from Pure Water TFT. The Witcher? Question mark. Fuck. Period. Yeah. Yeah, The Witcher. Fuck. And we'll move on to the last question is from Instagram, finally. We have TitanGoji, who has a great YouTube channel for anybody who likes their old school monster movies, particularly of the Japanese origin. The guys in rubber suits, often referred to as tokusatsu, which is actually his question. Any particular tokusatsu series you believe deserve a stateside release? And this one actually took me some time to think about the answer for. And I think due to my love of the old Godzilla movies and not even knowing it existed until TitanGoji actually brought it up, is a series called Zone Fighter by Superaya Productions, I believe. It's basically Ultraman fighting off all of the old monsters from all the whole Toho movies. And he even teams up with Godzilla at some point and beats the shit out of Gigan. Oh my god! So exciting. I would want to watch that. I would want to watch that again and again and again. It needs a stateside release. So that is my answer. Unless I could think of something better, which I can't at the moment. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. So I just want to give this is my wrap up. So we do have new episodes coming with the changes. The next episode I'm thinking we're going to do is Adventures in Dino City, which I think was an old made-for-TV movie. I'm not sure for whom, but it's the most insane thing. And it's free on YouTube. It's a stinker. So be aware. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. I'm most heavily on Facebook and Instagram, but not on Twitter because I'm too old. I don't know how to use Twitter. Nobody ever taught me that one in class. Please consider joining us on the Patreon. And I could definitely use any help I can receive. But if you can't support financially, share us everywhere. Talk to your friends about us. More is coming. At least that is my aim. We also have the new show coming. Also, I want to give a special shout out to the Planeteers fan film that's being made. It's being done by Zach and Pete from the Dread episode, and it has a lot of promise, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. Check them out on Indiegogo, Planeteers fan film. And guys, if you're listening to this, that means that you stuck with me through my hiatus, and I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate it. This is, oh boy, I'm already looking at my runtime here. This is a short episode. So I hope you continue listening. I hope we continue to entertain you, and I'm looking forward to everything that's going to be in our future. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good one, guys. Thank you. One last thing. Don't forget to support EZXP and Untitled Mixtape. That's right. Still part of that network, I think.